Welcome to Woman's Secret Signals, the place where attraction stops being confusing and starts making sense. Have you ever felt like she was giving you signs, but you weren't sure if they were real? Like one moment she's interested, the next she's distant, and you're left overthinking everything? Here's the truth. She is communicating with you, just not in the way you expect. Most men miss it, not because they're not good enough, but because no one ever taught them how to see it. On this channel, you're going to learn how to read between the lines, how to understand her body language, her energy, her subtle shifts, and most importantly, how to respond in a way that naturally builds attraction. No fake tricks, no awkward lines, just real psychology, real confidence, and real connection. Because once you understand the signals, you stop guessing, you stop chasing, and you start attracting. So if you're ready to finally understand what she's really saying without words, hit subscribe and step into a world most men never even realize exists. Let's start with something most people completely misunderstand about attraction. It's not about bold moves. It's about subtle signals. The title of this video might sound direct, but the truth behind it is rooted in psychology, emotional awareness, and timing. Attraction doesn't begin with physical contact. It begins long before that, in the way you look at her, the way you speak, and most importantly, the way you make her feel. Here's the key idea. People crave emotional experiences more than physical ones. When a woman feels comfortable, intrigued, and slightly excited around you, her mind starts associating you with positive emotions. That's the foundation of real attraction. Now, when we talk about something like kissing her here, we're not talking about random or aggressive behavior. We're talking about reading the moment. There's a huge difference. Psychologically, humans respond strongly to anticipation. A gentle, well-timed gesture, like a kiss on the cheek, forehead, or hand, can create a spark because it feels intentional, not forced. It signals confidence, but also respect. But here's where most people go wrong. They rush. They skip the emotional buildup and go straight to the action. That almost always backfires. Instead, focus on these three things first. Eye contact, hold it just a second longer than normal. It builds tension. Tone of voice, calm, slightly slower speech creates a sense of control and confidence. Presence, be fully engaged in the moment. No distractions. When these elements are in place, even the smallest gesture becomes powerful. Think of attraction like a story. You don't jump to the ending, you build it scene by scene. If she feels safe, understood, and a little bit curious about what you'll do next, you've already done 80% of the work. So before we even talk about where to kiss, understand this. It's not the location that matters most. It's the emotion behind the moment. In the next section, we'll break down exactly how to recognize the signs that she's ready and how to avoid the mistakes that instantly kill attraction. Before making any kind of move, you need to understand one crucial skill: reading her signals. This is where most people either succeed or completely fail. Attraction is rarely spoken out loud. It's communicated through behavior. If you don't recognize these signs, you'll either move too early or miss the moment entirely. Let's break it down. First, pay attention to her body language. Is she facing you when you talk? Are her feet pointed in your direction? Does she lean in slightly instead of pulling away? These are all subtle indicators that she's comfortable and engaged. Next, notice her touch patterns. If she finds small reasons to touch you, like brushing your arm during a laugh or fixing something on your shirt, that's a strong psychological sign of interest. Humans don't casually touch people they're not comfortable with. Another big one is eye contact. If she holds your gaze, looks away, and then looks back again, that's not random. That's curiosity mixed with attraction. It's her way of checking the emotional connection without saying anything directly. Now here's something even more important: her energy. Is she investing in the conversation? Asking questions? Smiling naturally? If she's giving you her attention freely, that means she's emotionally present with you. And that's exactly where you want her. But let's talk about what not to do. Don't assume. Just because she's being friendly doesn't always mean she's interested. That's why you look for patterns, not just one sign. Attraction shows up as consistency, not coincidence. Also, avoid forcing physical contact. If she pulls back, even slightly, that's your signal to slow down. Confidence is attractive, but awareness is what makes it work. Here's the truth. The right moment never feels rushed. It feels natural. Almost like both of you are silently agreeing that something is building. When you learn to read these signals, you stop guessing and start understanding. And that's what separates someone who gets rejected from someone who creates real connection. In the next section, we'll talk about the exact moment and the most powerful places to make your move in a way that feels effortless and unforgettable. Now that you understand how to read her signals, let's talk about the moment everyone is curious about, the right time and the right place to make your move. First, Forget the idea that there's some magical spot that instantly makes her fall for you. It doesn't work like that. What actually matters is how and when you do it. Timing is everything. The perfect moment usually happens when there's a shift in energy, when the conversation slows down, when eye contact lingers, when there's a brief silence that feels comfortable, not awkward. That silence is powerful. It means both of you are feeling something without needing to say it. This is where confidence comes in. Not loud, aggressive confidence, but calm, controlled certainty. Now let's talk about where. Psychologically, certain areas feel more intimate without being overwhelming. A gentle kiss on the cheek, for example, feels warm and respectful. It shows interest without pressure. A kiss on the forehead can create an unexpected emotional reaction. It signals care, safety, and calm energy. It's not just physical, it's emotional connection. And then there's the hand. This one is underrated. Lightly taking her hand and placing a soft kiss on it can feel surprisingly powerful because it's different. It stands out. It creates a moment she doesn't expect. And that's what makes it memorable. But here's the real secret. It's not about the location. It's about the buildup. If you've created the right atmosphere, eye contact, laughter, emotional connection, then even the smallest gesture can feel intense. Without that buildup, even a perfect move feels empty. Also, always move slowly. Give her time to react. Watch her response. If she leans in, smiles, or stays close, that's your green light. If she hesitates, you pause. Simple as that. This isn't about trying to impress her. It's about sharing a moment that feels natural for both of you. When done right, it doesn't feel like a move at all. It feels like something that was meant to happen. In the next section, we'll dive deeper into the psychological triggers that make her feel drawn to you and why some men create attraction effortlessly while others struggle. Now let's go deeper, because real attraction isn't just about moments. It's about psychological triggers, the kind that make her think about you even after you're gone. One of the strongest triggers is emotional contrast. If every guy she meets acts the same, predictable, overly eager, trying too hard, then the one who stands out is the one who balances things differently. You don't give everything at once, you create a mix of warmth and mystery. For example, you can be playful and make her laugh, then suddenly slow things down and hold eye contact. That shift in energy creates tension, and tension is what builds attraction. Another powerful trigger is uncertainty. Now, this doesn't mean playing games or being manipulative. It simply means not being completely predictable. When she's not 100% sure what you're going to do next, but she feels good around you, her mind naturally becomes more engaged. She starts wondering, thinking, replaying moments. That's how attraction grows mentally, not just physically. Then there's confidence without pressure. A lot of people think confidence means taking control aggressively. That's not true. Real confidence is being comfortable with yourself, with silence, with eye contact, without needing constant validation. When you're relaxed, she relaxes too. And here's something most people overlook, feeling chosen. When you give her genuine attention, not in a desperate way, but in a focused, intentional way, it makes her feel special. Not because you're chasing her, but because you're selecting her. That subtle difference changes everything. Also, don't underestimate proximity. Standing or sitting slightly closer than normal, without invading her space, creates a quiet sense of intimacy. Combine that with a calm voice and steady eye contact, and you're building a strong emotional atmosphere. All of these triggers work together. None of them are loud or obvious, but that's exactly why they're powerful. Because attraction isn't built through force. It's built through experience. When she feels a mix of comfort, curiosity, and emotional excitement around you, that's when she starts wanting more. Naturally. In the final section, we'll bring everything together and show you how to turn that connection into a memorable, natural outcome without ever forcing it. Now let's connect everything, because this is where most people either make it flow or completely ruin the moment. By now, you understand something important. Attraction isn't about a single move. It's about a sequence of feelings you create over time. You started with presence. Then you learned to read her signals. Then you understood timing and subtle physical connection. And finally, you discovered the psychological triggers that build real desire. So how do you bring it all together? Simple. You stop trying to force an outcome. The biggest mistake people make is focusing too much on taking her home, instead of focusing on the experience you're creating together. Ironically, the more you chase the outcome, the less likely it happens. Instead, stay in the moment. If the conversation is flowing, let it flow. If she's laughing, enjoy it. If there's a pause, don't rush to fill it. Sometimes that silence is exactly what builds tension. Now, when everything is aligned, her body language is open, she's engaged, there's light touch, strong eye contact, that's when things naturally escalate. At this point, you don't need a perfect line or a rehearsed move. You might say something simple like, I like this vibe with you. Let's continue this somewhere more comfortable. Notice the difference? It's not pushy. It's not needy. It's an invitation. And here's the key. You're giving her space to choose. If she's feeling the same connection, she'll say yes, or she'll make it easy for things to continue. If not, she won't. And that's okay. Because real confidence isn't about getting every outcome. It's about respecting the moment, no matter how it unfolds. Also remember this. What makes you stand out isn't what you do. It's how you make her feel. Safe, excited, curious, comfortable. When those emotions are present, things don't feel rushed or awkward. They feel natural. And that's the goal. Not to impress, not to convince, but to create a connection so genuine that the next step feels like the obvious one for both of you. Because when it's real, you don't have to push anything. It simply happens.